Well, right now, the Duke Blue Devils seem to be ready. Their crowd is ready for sure.
Couple of good point guards here seeing action tonight, as both of them combined for 0 turnovers in their first games of the season. Atiba Prater on the McDonald's Vanderbilt lineup, 7 points, couple of assists, 3 steals, no turnovers in 22 minutes when they knocked off Valparaiso the other night. So what do we look for from the Commodores tonight?
Well, certainly you're going to look for the ability to establish somebody inside. Billy DeSpaltro was the guy Wednesday night in Nashville against Valparaiso, and you look at the number of points, 51 out of 74 in the front court.
On the McDonald's Duke lineup, a similar night for Wojciechowski. Steve, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists against St. Joe's. 22 minutes, and again, no turnover. But they're not facing St. Joe's tonight.
No, they're not, but they still have that depth that we talked about. That wears people down. 7 players who play 20 minutes or more, you get tired mentally and physically and cause fouls and turnovers.
Off the opening tap, Duke will have it. They, of course, run that patented Coach K motion offense. Vanderbilt likes to pressure the ball, but we expect to see them play some zone tonight. They want to see if Duke can hit threes all night long. If they do, they'll win.
Well,
on the drive, it's Langdon and a blocking foul.
They've come out in man-to-man, Vanderbilt, and I don't know, the Duke perimeter players might be a little too quick for Drew Maddox and the other players on that team. Atiba Prater is the only one who might be able to match quickness.
Austin Bates with the foul. And quickly to the line, Trajan Langdon, coming off the medical red shirt because of the knee, and that followed the left leg stress fracture that caused the knee problem. A team high 20 the other night, 4 assists, and what a great 27 minutes. He'd been waiting a long time to get back in there.
Well, what he's done is pretty much established the outside shooting of Duke. That was one of the questions going into this year, whether or not they'd have somebody who can drop the 3 consistently. Man-to-man, full court pressure by Duke, looking to try to make the young backcourt man, in particular Atiba Prater, who's not handling it right now, feel that pressure. Drew Maddox has got more experience.
Yeah, they go to the experienced man, and he gives it up. Wojciechowski with help to pick up the loose ball. This will be a very interesting matchup tonight between a perimeter team, Duke, and a good, strong inside team like Vandy. There's Billy DeSpaltro pulling down the rebound. He had 9 the other night and a career-high 22. Another turnover. Here comes Wojo.
2 possessions, 2 turnovers. The Vanderbilt backcourt has got to get its poise right now.
If Prater thought his fans were noisy in Nashville, he's in for something here tonight. Almost gave it up. Bates on the perimeter for the freshman. Prater was recruited by Duke. Maddox in the corner. You can always count on him to hit the open shot. He's now 2 out of 3 from 3-point range this year. Safe to say they needed that one in the first minute and a half on the road.
Now Vanderbilt's gone into a 2-3 zone. Jan Van Bredekoff told me this morning that they were going to give Duke a lot of defensive looks.
Great look. Langdon to Newton.
That's the only look that counts, though.
Trajan Langdon scoring, assisting. Here's Pax Whitehead. Little give and go there. He goes to the corner. Langdon gives him the baseline, and he dribbles the ball right onto the blue paint.
Now Vanderbilt's plan coming into tonight was not to run any plays, to try to freelance a little bit, get some motion. But what's happening here, it appears that they're a bit confused. Maybe they're not accustomed to playing together, this being the second game of the season with some new faces.
3 turnovers now by Vandy in the first 2 minutes of the game. McLeod takes some contact, Now he hangs and scores. Rashawn McLeod, Coach K's first ever incoming transfer. And a timeout at 20 called by Vanderbilt. 2 minutes and 25 seconds in with Duke up by 5.
Got a case here where they've got to regroup. We're talking about Jan Van Bredikoff and his Commodores. He's arguing right now that there was contact and it should have been a charge on that last play. But more than anything else, his team has got to regroup offensively. They've got to find some kind of method, again, to try to establish their inside game. They haven't really looked inside. Nice ball fake by Rashawn McLeod. Prior to that, there was some contact. Player hit the deck, and there was no call.
So in a continuation of what we saw here the other night, Len, already 4 Devils have scored. We're only 2.5 minutes into the game. Newton an easy basket, Langdon a couple of free throws, McLeod and Wojciechowski 2-pointers, and an 8-3 Duke lead early.
Again, the full court pressure, a little more token this time applied by Duke, but it still has the Commodores thinking a little bit. They're not flowing offensively.
There's Bates. Nice hook, fake, and he got Newton off the floor. That'll be number 1 on the 6'10 senior out of Niagara Falls.
When you can get the ball into a player like Austin Bates, who has great confidence in his post moves, good up fake, and takes it strong to the basket after the pump fake, you're going to get something good happening to you. That time he gets to the line. But Vanderbilt has got to focus more, as I mentioned before, on getting the ball into their players rather than just moving around motion aimlessly.
Austin Bates at 6'9", 240. Despite the size, he's got a very nice touch from around 15 feet out. They love his baseline jumper when he gets down that deep. He's got 1 out of 2 for his first points, coming off an 11-point game at home the other night. 8-4 Duke. Well, Ricky Price looked pretty good coming back from the broken finger on Wednesday. McLeod to Newton, lost it, and then straight ahead to Spaltro, gave it right back to Wojciechowski. On the break, the Commodores tried to shove the ball right back up the middle. There's McLeod. That's a 2. He's 2 for 2.
Well, that time, Spaltro decided to give McLeod some room. He knows McLeod can put it on the floor and is pretty quick.
Spaltro picks up the loose ball, draws a foul and could not quite knock it down. He was lucky to have a ball deflect right to him on the back door.
But one of the things that happens when you're a defensive team like Duke and you're so good on the help side is that many times you're out of position to cover the weak side of the board. And that time, Spaltro maintained his presence on the weak side and got an opportunity to get his hands on the ball.
Billy Spaltro, a Jersey kid out of New Vernon.
Quite a collector. He's got 62 pairs of basketball shoes. They say it's the largest collection on the team. I think it's the largest collection in the United States.
62 pairs. That's the only thing higher than his shooting percentage last year. Number 8 all-time on the Vanderbilt chart with a 59% shooting year. Those were his first 2. So the Commodores hanging in now with Duke 10-6 as we near the 4-minute mark in the first half.
Back to a tight 2-3 zone. It's almost a matchup played by Vanderbilt right now.
Wojciechowski rattles home the 3. That's his first 3 of the year. If he starts scoring, Duke opponents are really in trouble.
Absolutely, because playing Duke, many times you want to be able to flatten out and force him to beat you offensively.
We have seen teams in the past let him shoot. Evidently not anymore. Good drive by Pax Whitehead, and he's fouled from behind. It looks like McLeod will get his second.
Bob, this is going to be a game where Vanderbilt has to exercise some patience. You know, they're down 7 points right now, but they have to continue to believe in their game plan, which is establishing inside presence. That's a nice baseline move by Whitehead. He got Ricky Price on his hip and took him to the cup.
Number 24,
Max Whitehead goes to the line.
2 shots.
Former Ivy League Rookie of the Year at Colgate in '93 for guess who? Jan Van Brederkoff in his 4th year at Vandy now. And the officials timeout. 4 minutes and 14 seconds in. Duke off to a quick start, leading by 5.
Chase Business Revolving Credit meant that Oscar Cologne's furniture company could hire more workers when they got their biggest order ever. Business Revolving Credit, one of 72 ways we help small businesses grow. And another way, you're worth more at our bank. Chase, because the right relationship is everything.
Are we falling behind, he asks me. He plays golf with his buddies, and all they talk about is the internet, the intranet, electronic commerce. He says we need this stuff. Are we falling behind, he asks. No, we are ahead. We are way ahead.
Where is enterprise computing headed? Look to where the leaders of the PC revolution are taking it.
Driving a supercharged Riviera is a pretty racy form of entertainment. And now, with this low lease offer, it's more exhilarating than ever. Riviera by Buick.
Well, tonight marks a rather interesting return to Cameron Indoor Stadium by 12-year Krzyzewski assistant Pete Caudette. Greeted warmly by the folks back here in Durham tonight. He met Jan Van Brederkoff a couple of years ago when Van Brederkoff was down here recording Courtney Alexander out of Jordan High School. He came over to Cameron. There were guys like Grant Hill, Christian Leitner, pros over here shooting, and Pete was showing them some things and teaching them. Jan was very impressed. A couple of years later, he added Pete onto his staff, and what a great addition it is. Capel the miss, and Despalcho the rebound for Vanderbilt. Straight ahead to Bates, quick transition, and that ball was tipped up and in. It looked like Pax Whitehead.
Well, he got a little bit of help from Carmen Wallace, who skied high to try to get his hands on it, but couldn't control it.
So the crowd abuzz a little bit. We'll wait and see officially who they give the basket to. It'll go to Austin Bates, the last man to touch it for Vandy. Capel travels.
Vanderbilt staying with their game plan defensively, showing multiple defenses. On offense, again, the last basket by Austin Bates. You take a look here, you see Carmen Wallace, 34, trying to control it, but just lost the handle.
Howard Pride into the game, handling the ball for Vandy. Finds himself open, blew right by Wojciechowski, and his first due. That's only Vandy's second field goal of the game.
But what happened is they have not lost their poise. They could have after the first 2 turnovers in their first 2 possessions of the game.
And I should say that's only the second field goal they actually scored with their own hands. Duke gave them one.
You take it any way you get it.
You got that right. Trajan Langdon back in. And behind him, the smooth freshman who had a great debut the other night, Mike Chappelle, the high school All-American out of Lathrop High School in Southfield, Michigan. 8 points the other night on 3 for 9 shooting in 20 minutes.
Those 2 substitutions are strictly offensive substitutions. The Duke offense has stalled a bit.
Langdon. I think the engine just revved up and got in gear.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Langdon with 5. Taman Domzalski is also in there for Duke, working down low against Gianni Cugini. They're up top now. And Despalcho fumbles the ball over the sideline.
One of the things that Vanderbilt worked on in their shoot-around this morning was trying to tell the guards to keep their dribble, not to pick the ball up. Once you do that, the Duke defense swarms, it overplays the passing lanes, and it results in a turnover.
Capel. Rebound to Spaltro. He travels as he goes down. You know, Len, you bring that up about Vandy. That's exactly the thing we heard from Phil Martelli in St. Joe's before the Wednesday night game. They were concerned about making that first pass, giving up the dribble, then having to get rid of it. And obviously Duke made them pay with lots of turnovers.
Well, the thing about the Duke system, particularly defensively, is it's really nothing gaudy, nothing complicated, but teams have a hard time executing against it because they play with such effort.
Carmen Wallace on the wing for Chappelle. Posting up is Domzowski. Cugini gets some help from Whitehead, and last touched by the Blue Devil, Domzowski, and the turnover.
What Domzowski did is a prime mistake made by a lot of young postmen. When you receive, you have to locate the defense before you put the ball on the floor. If you don't do that, as soon as you put it down, little guys are coming and they're just slapping the ball away from you.
This is Howard Pride, known more for his defense. Carmen Wallace takes a page out of Pride's book, takes the charge and the turnover.
The reason for that simply was Vanderbilt didn't get into an offensive set right away. Pride was stuck dribbling the ball outside. There were crosses and double teams, and he didn't take a look.
All right, so let me ask you this. How do you get into an offensive set if you're not planning on running any plays?
Well, you still have to have some kind of pattern, crossing underneath, setting picks, bringing guys out, playing with each other.
Newton took a foul from behind by Despaltro and almost knocked it down. That'll be number 1 on Billy, 6'9" junior.
Well, we take a look here. Again, the ball goes into the post. Domzowski puts it on the floor right away without locating the defense. And now you see Whitehead dropping back to tie him up and get the ball knocked out of bounds. You have to hold it, have the patience for a moment to take a look. Guys like Pax Whitehead are very adept at getting underneath the big guys.
Greg Newton, 5 out of 7 from the line against St. Joe's Wednesday night. Then he added 4 field goals in the second half and ended the night with 13 points. Had 4 blocks. Misfires on both. And the rebound for Dan Lange, the freshman out of Benton, Kentucky, who originally was heading for UConn before he changed his mind. Langdon the foul, his first.
Much better job by Vanderbilt coming down and starting to get people in position, break out on the wings for outlet passes from the point guard.
Duke by 4, 16-12, just under 13 minutes to go, first half. Second of 3 on ESPN tonight. More quarterfinal NIT action later. Oklahoma State at Tulsa after Sports Center. Tulsa did it to UCLA again. Now they play their in-state rivals, Eddie Sutton's Cowboys. Carmen Wallace the miss. Chappelle tripped from behind while he was going for it. And the Devils will argue mildly about that one. It'll go back the way of the Commodores.
A lot of very aggressive play under the boards right now. Both teams recognizing that second shot opportunities is going to help an awful lot.
Big win for Arizona, 83-72 over Carolina tonight. As Mike Tirico said a few minutes ago, lots of teams in their debuts this evening. A lot of top 25 clubs in action tonight. Look at that, 6 more attempts by Duke so far. That's because of the early turnovers by Vandy. Pax Whitehead on the perimeter, right through the hands of Newton. Cugini can't knock it down. Trajan Langdon picks it up. Carries it on his hip. And here comes Drew Maddox for an easy deuce.
Well, one of the things I think that people have seen, particularly in Trajan Langdon's freshman year as well as the other night, is that no one seems to have made him put it on the floor to try to go to the basket, and I think that's something that Vanderbilt wanted to do tonight, to move in on him, force him to put it down.
Back to a 2-point game. Langdon continues to loosen him up. Another three, his second of the night. He's now 8 out of 9 on the year.
If you let him spot up, he'll hurt you.
Here's Maddox, who can do it at the other end. Rashawn McLeod, contact from Gianni Cugini, and the foul on the sophomore. Vanderbilt hanging tough, but the three by Duke, and now it's 19-14 Blue Devils.
It'll be time to ho-ho-ho it before you know it. So Sears has the entire store on sale. Shop Sears this Saturday and take an extra 10% off all sale prices and 10% off all regular prices. One day only. And don't miss this. The Michael Jordan Golf Company is teaming up with Sears. Register to win a trip for 4 to meet Michael Jordan. So get to Sears this Saturday while the entire store is on sale. Or you'll miss out on a ho-ho-ho lot.
Would a man attack the peak of K2 if a remarkably soft pair of pants were placed there? Would a man tread the lip of a volcano for pants that were pure cotton yet wrinkle-free? Would a man brave the trackless Sahara for pants that were suitable for work and play? A man would if he were a fool, because he could go to the store and say, yes, I'd like to try on the ultimate pant, new by Hager. Besides, your wife won't let you go to the Sahara anyway.
This year, over 400,000 aluminum radiators will corrode and fail. But Prestone antifreeze bonds with aluminum, forming the Prestone zone of protection against corrosion. It's your car. Protect it in the Prestone zone. And now there's a new Prestone antifreeze with a new low-tox formula for an extra margin of safety around pets and wildlife. New Prestone Low-Tox. It's extra protection in the Prestone zone.
Quarterfinal action in the Chase NIT, Duke 19-14, and the first ever 24-hour all sports news network has arrived. It's called ESPN News. To get ESPN News, call your local cable operator, our satellite program provider. Bob Carpenter with Len Elmore in Durham in North Carolina. 8.5 minutes into the game, Duke by 5. Wojciechowski runs the offense. Down deep to Newton, then some help. They kick it right back outside, but McLeod has it rim out on him. Maddox on the Vanderbilt transition game. They get it inside quickly, and Bates goes back door. That's 5 for him. They love to get the ball up the floor and score quickly. That was picture perfect that time. Look at Chappelle, the freshman.
That time, a nice job by Newton to screen the defender, keep him away from the baseline to help out. And Chappelle makes a quick move baseline.
Blue Devils back up by 5. Whitehead for Pride. And then Whitehead the miss. Newton the uncontested rebound.
Vanderbilt taking some outside shots, not really exploring inside, which was supposedly their game plan.
Look at McLeod turn to the basket. And Pride picks up the loose ball for Vandy. Great move, just couldn't finish. And Newton knocks it away. That's Maddox for Pride again, who only played 20 games last year because of torn ankle ligaments. Gives Jan Van Bredekoff a lot more depth this year. He turns it over.
I tell you, Wojciechowski's pressure is what's forcing Pride not only to try to look inside and look for open people, but he has to keep an eye on his dribble. It's nothing fancy. Once again, it's just good footwork, moving your hands, and a dogged determination. And you take a look at those eyes, man, you wouldn't want to handle the ball against him either.
No, sir. 7 turnovers now by Vandy in the first 10 minutes of the game. Wojciechowski, the entry for Newton, stripped away by Austin Bates on the way up.
Didn't need to dribble that time.
Pax Whitehead. He's got a weird-looking shot. He kind of pushes the ball up there. It was deflected, and then Despaltro couldn't knock down his little catch. Here's Ricky Price.
Very slow getting back. are the Commodores, and I think this pressure is starting to wear on them just a little bit halfway through this first half. Guys are a step slower right now getting back defensively.
Maddox on the wing. That's Prater. Haven't seen much of him so far. Bates got the rebound, and he fakes his way into a foul.
And where would Vanderbilt be without Austin Bates? Doing a nice job on the offensive boards, creating some things inside when certainly nothing outside is working.
That was his third rebound of the night.
See the screen, Rashawn McLeod. Billy Dispaltro is a pretty big fella, but when you don't see the truck coming, I don't care how big you are, you're going to get smacked.
Bates a junior, Dispaltro a junior, Cagini just a sophomore. So the boards at Memorial Gym will be rumbling for another year or two with these guys moving up and down the court over in Nashville. Austin Bates now with a half dozen. They will check in James Strong, freshman out of Huntsville, Alabama, All-American at Butler High School last year.
Say the other thing that the Duke defense does to you, and they're pushing the ball up the court offensively, it forces you to go into your bench a little earlier than you'd like, and Jan Van Bredikoff has had to do that.
That was Ricky Price on the drive, and they will call him for the charge. Mark Distaiola, Glenn Mayborg, and Glenn Horner, the officiating crew here tonight, and they had to talk about that one for a while.
Well, a little disagreement by the officials. You see Mike Krzyzewski signaled that he stepped under him. I think that was a pretty good call. Bates got set before Price took off.
Here's Prater for Bates. He scores again. That's 8 for Austin. Single-handedly keeping Vanderbilt close right now. It's a 4-point game. Capel got a little bit out of control, but a foul. It appears to be on Billy Dispaltro. That would be his second.
See Mike Krzyzewski working the officials, still reminding him of what he thought was not a good call on the offensive foul by Price.
The foul will be on Vanderbilt's James Strong. Carmen Wallace returns for the Blue Devils, and Rashawn McLeod, 4 early points, nothing since, takes a seat. Jeff Capel has not scored tonight. Didn't have to the other night with McLeod and Langdon going crazy. He had 5 points and 6 boards against the Hawks of St. Joe's. Lange up with it for the Commodores. Wojciechowski on the floor. They're still wanting that ball. Wojo says this thing's mine.
I told you. You look in his eyes. He's got that intensity about him, and he's not going to back down from anyone. The young freshman, Strong, just wasn't ready for the pass. You take a look at Prater's pass up to Strong. He wasn't ready, didn't really want it. And I guess you could say Wojo did. That looked like a 2-point takedown.
He decisioned him. Prater and Wojo still side by side. Now Prater puts his hand on his head. Little Durham dance here at Cameron tonight. Commodores down by 5 on this possession with 8:20 to go, first half.
Wojciechowski doing a great job of keeping Prater away from the ball, overplaying him. Again, throwing the Commodore offense out of whack.
Strong for Dispaltro, way out from the basket, feeds it in, deflects off the left hand to Bates, and the Blue Devils get it back.
Prater's got to learn that he has to make himself available, find a way to get open. This is a very fragile offense that Vanderbilt has. You don't want Billy Dispaltro handling the ball out at the top trying to create something. And I'm sure that's what he's being told by Dan Van Bredikoff.
Wojciechowski with penetration, lost it on the way up, drew a foul. It appears to be number 2 on Howard Pride.
Number 13, Howard Pride.
It's interesting the adjustment that Duke has made in the last 2 days. They went from pretty much a perimeter team against St. Joe's, where they were hitting everything that they threw up, particularly in the second half, to a penetrating team. If Vanderbilt comes out, you have guys like Wojciechowski, Ricky Price. They're putting it on the floor, going by people to create.
Mike Krzyzewski, 17th year here. An amazing 7 Final Fours. Watching Wojciechowski hit 1 out of 2. Domzalski had a touch on it. So did Ricky Price. And then that little cardinal sin coaches hate. James Strong trying to move up floor before he had the dribble. 7:51 to go first half, and Duke leads by 6.
No dogs, no stoplights, no rain. Just getting fit, staying fit, losing the fat. Yeah, you can get fit with this. Into running, walking, you will reach your goal. You cannot stop. This is why. Keeps you moving. Call it motivation. Want it higher, harder, steeper? You will get there. You won't pound your knees, your ankles, your joints. This tells you where you are, how far you'll go, and what you'll attain. So when you get there, it gets out of your way. Space Saver Thin Line from Proform. Hey, this isn't much. This is smart.
The new Proform Space Saver treadmill, more compact than ever. Call for a 30-day in-home trial.
Tomorrow on ESPN2, it's triple header action. First, defensive powers clash as West Virginia visits Virginia Tech. Then, South Carolina grapples with a Clemson squad that's on a roll. Finally, Minnesota hopes to dash Iowa's bid for a bowl. West Virginia, Virginia Tech at noon. South Carolina, Clemson at 5:30. Iowa, Minnesota at 8:30. Tomorrow, only on ESPN2.
Duke by 6 over Vandy. Great day of rivalries coming up on ESPN's college football. Quarterback Steve Sarkisian, yeah, they've got another one at BYU. They are 11-1, and the WAC title, at least in their division, up for grabs as they take on the Utes. And then how about this one? Auburn and Alabama. Auburn just out of the top 25. Bama is checking in at number 15 this week at 8-2. Tremendous rivalry weekend on ESPN's college football.
Number 34, Harmon Wallace.
Harmon Wallace a foul right off the inbounds play.
It was a blocking foul. Wallace with a illegal screen on the baseline.
Number 24.
Trying to get involved in the offense is Billy Dispaltra. Max Whitehead at the line. He's 3 for 3 there now.
Speaking of Dispaltra, he's got no field goal attempts, 2 points, and 4 turnovers. It's difficult to establish the inside game when the passer is being swarmed and his vision's being blocked.
Somebody didn't block out. Austin Bates gets the garbage. He's into double figures. Big basket for the Commodores there. A 3-point play makes it a 3-point game.
Bates has had a tremendous presence on both ends of the floor.
Couple of rebounds, both of them at the offensive end.
But he's also been taking charges. He's had his hands on a few. He just has to grab one.
They're going to change that one. There were 2 Commodores pawing away at the basketball. And Duke will keep it. Newton, McLeod, and Langdon will all check back in. Capel, Wallace, and Domzalski all take a seat.
And with the wholesale substitutions and the frequency of them for Duke, sometimes you have to worry, can they get into any type of rhythm offensively when you keep shuttling guys in and out? But so far, it hasn't been a problem.
Well, last Friday night we saw on ESPN what great versatility Rick Barnes has at Clemson. I can't wait to see Duke and Clemson throw everybody out on the floor when they get together in the ACC this year. There's McLeod. He had Newton open. Didn't give it to him the first time. Then he tried to hook it around. And the Blue Devils will keep it with 13 on the shot clock.
Good look by McLeod, but an even better recovery by DeSpaltro.
Wojo open for three. DeSpaltro uncontested for the rebound, and here comes Drew Maddox. Howard Pride for Whitehead. DeSpaltro posting up. There's Austin flashing. That's his shot down there on the baseline. He was a little bit off with it. Price transition. Flying through the air. Max Whitehead on the foul as Ricky Price comes up with some serious airtime here.
Once again, we talked about fatigue, getting back a step too slow. Max Whitehead not getting back into the paint as good defenders do in a semi-break situation. Doesn't get back there in time.
5 for Ricky. He had 12 against St. Joe's on Wednesday, coming off that broken pinky finger on his right hand. Now Pride falls. Wojciechowski a touch. Maddox and McLeod. Wojo's got it. Nobody down the floor except Ricky Price and his teammate Newton. The Commodores got caught ball watching there.
Combination, that's mental fatigue right there. Combination of physical and mental fatigue. Once again, keeps Vanderbilt from getting back on defense and really getting on the floor after the ball.
Largest lead for the Blue Devils, 8 at the 6-minute mark. Page for DeSpaltro and a foul on Newton. That is his third. And that's the one thing that can turn the tide of the inside game here tonight is Newton foul trouble.
Well, the benefit of having the three big guys inside is the ability to tag team and put a lot of pressure on. But you talk about tag team and wrestling, right there Duke wants the ball more. There's no question about it. Drew Maddox didn't get any help. And Wojciechowski, with the presence of mind after he gets possession of kicking it out, there were no black shirts anywhere near Ricky Price on that layup, although they had plenty of time.
DeSpaltro 3 for 3 from the line tonight. He's been to the line 15 times already in a game and a half this year.
Again, the establishment of an inside game, which they really haven't been able to do tonight with DeSpaltro, although Bates has picked up the slack.
There's Whitehead. Nobody boxed him out. He's got it again. Fakes. Rejected. But he was fouled by Domzalski as McLeod blocked the shot. This is a club the other night, Len, that went to the line 35 times against Valparaiso, hitting 24 of them.
And you talk about making an adjustment. Duke has still problems with blocking people off the board. The other night against St. Joseph, St. Joe's came up with 24 offensive rebounds, and I think the Blue Devils, particularly in the first half, were fortunate that they weren't able to convert any for any baskets.
4 for Pax Whitehead, all from the line. He finished last year shooting free throws well, hit 22 of his last 25. Back to within 5. Vandy hanging around just as Duke stretched the lead out to 8, but then Newton got the third foul, and that hurt him defensive rebounding at the other end on the free throws.
And again, going back to the substitutions and the frequency of them, sometimes they hurt you offensively.
Nice little pick and roll by Domzalski, his first basket.
That's the first good-looking offensive set for Duke in a couple of possessions. They've been fortunate to be able to convert turnovers.
High screen by Bates. Pride in traffic. Deflected, stolen by Trajan Langdon. Here they come, 5 on 3. Pretty good catch there by Chappelle. Ball was behind him. Wojciechowski for Domzalski and back. Then to the wing for McLeod. And a foul underneath against Domzalski, but the basket counts.
Good ball movement by Duke, guys spotting up, but more importantly, making themselves available despite the the movement of the defense trying to get into the passing lanes, the shooters were able to step into the gaps and be seen. Wojciechowski with nice penetration, and McLeod spots up nicely. But take a look at McLeod once again. See, his hands are up. He's in an area where Wojciechowski can see him upon the penetration. You know, a lot of shooters have a tendency to hide behind the defense, and they're not making themselves accessible.
Austin Bates missing. He was 5 out of 6 from the line in that 74-66 win over that feisty Valparaiso bunch in Nashville on Wednesday. 10-point game here. Now it's 35-26. Winner of this game plays the winner of Oklahoma State at Tulsa later tonight, the way the brackets are set up for New York City. Good spin move. And that's Chris Carrawell, the freshman who just checked in out of Cardinal Ritter in St. Louis. Now they're up by 11, again their largest lead. Despaltro receiving the pass up over the top, and that appears to be number 3 on McLeod.
Blue Devil foul number 4.
The Blue Devils are so quick up front. You see the receive and the first step, he's gone before the defenders can recover. And that's what having 2, 3, 4 of the guys in the same mold, quickness, long arms, athletic ability, that's what they'll do to you on the baseline if you don't have the people who can at least step up and take that baseline away.
So a minute 20 after Newton got his third, McLeod got his. Duke stretched his lead out by 3 points during that time. It'll stay an 11-point game. Langdon for Chappelle, and Despaltro took it right out of his hands.
Look at Bates working down low, trying to establish position.
Pride finds Despaltro, put it on the floor, and then Ricky Price deflected the ball away from him. Duke by 11 as we run down to the 4-minute mark. Mike Tirico's in the studio tonight. He'll update you on some other NIT action this evening. This is our second of 3 on ESPN. Ricky Price can't get it to fall. Pax Whitehead, the Vanderbilt rebound.
This is an opportunity for Vanderbilt again to try to get back inside. Despaltro's got to be much stronger with the ball. You look at that body and you don't think it's going to get taken away from him.
Chappelle had the ball slip out of his hands. Again, the other freshman, Carrawell's down there, and they both travel with it.
Maybe they have to check the ball. It looks like it's been in the refrigerator a little too long.
3:28 to go on a slippery night in Durham. The Blue Devils by 11.
And now from Paris, from Milan, from St. Louis.
Introducing a new look from Budweiser. Born on dating. It's the day your Bud was born, because fresh beer tastes better.
Nice label.
Thanks.
Today, I'm going to meetings in Paris, Prague, and Toledo without leaving my chair. The world is evolving and connecting at the same time. You don't even need an office. If you can think it, you can go do it in absolute full digital color. There are more ideas inside of Kinko's today than in any office space in America. Sometimes I go just to be with people.
Hi, Howard.
Every day, over 200,000 businesses use Kinko's, the new way to office.
Sorry, dinner's late. Had to take apart the strut assembly on the minivan.
Oh.
So how was practice?
We had to do thrust angle alignments again.
We're on CV joints.
Dad, after dinner, can we replace the rack and pinion on the station wagon?
We can't all be suspension systems experts.
We'll see.
Oh.
At Midas, that's okay, because whether your car bounces, pulls, or vibrates, we'll explain your options so you'll know what to do. It's the Midas way. A better system for you and your car. Midas, auto systems experts.
Duke leads by 11. They've had 9 different players score already in this game. And let's talk about that down front game, Len, that we were opening the show with tonight. How's it going so far?
Well, you take a look at the differential of 3 points, and you got to believe Vanderbilt might be a little bit further along if they could get Billy DiSpaltro on track. Again, he's got no field goal attempts. He's got 2 points, actually 3 points from the free throw line alone, and he really hasn't been able to get the ball down on the blocks uncontested.
Against Valparaiso Wednesday, their front line scored 51 of their 74 points. 8-point advantage for the Doubles over the last 4:22. Vandy had pulled to within 3 at the 7:48 mark. Shot clock down to 6. Whitehead on top. Pride's got to let it go. Short with the 3. Carrawell had a touch. Trajan Langdon. The ball seems to magnetize toward him early in the season here. He has really played well in his first 2 games back. Now he'll drive. Got his own. Yes! And a foul!
Again, we talk about effort, and Trajan Langdon is one of those guys when you can feel it. The ball leaving his hand, he knew that he had missed that, and as soon as he touched the ground, he went back to the basket. Take a look here on the drive. He knows he misses it, and he still sets and is ready for the rebound. Just an excellent effort job by Trajan Langdon.
Into double figures already.
Number 3, Billy DiSpaltro.
He's not yet 100% coming back from his injury. Billy DiSpaltro back in for Vandy.
Woe beyond the future teams that Duke plays as he recovers.
You're reading my mind. When he's 100%, look out. That's 11 for him. It's now a 15-4 Duke run. Langdon gets a breather and a big hand from the Cameron Crazies. Carmen Wallace is back in. So he has 31 points in 3 halves of play this year. Prater back in running the Vandy offense. Cagini down low. There's DiSpaltro up high. He's had trouble handling the ball tonight. Wojciechowski's got it, and he scores. He turned his back on Prater and rolled it over the iron.
Well, DiSpaltro is not supposed to be handling the ball up that high. That's not his game. That's not his place.
Maddox tripped inadvertently by Wojo, who will get the foul. It'll be his first. But we've seen Billy DiSpaltro on probably 5 or 6 occasions just fail to cleanly handle the basketball.
Well, you take a look right here. He's at the top. He's become the conduit for the offense. He's very unaccustomed at that position, as you can tell. And putting the ball on the floor and turning your back on the Duke defenders is a no-no.
Drew Maddox, 14 points a game as a sophomore, 16 in the opener. He was selected on the 3rd team preseason All-SEC. Local kid out of Good Pasture High School in Nashville. Duke wants a 20 with 1:53 to go. Coming up Sunday on the Deuce, it's the 52nd edition of the Canadian Football League Grey Cup Championship. Edmonton, making their 19th appearance in the championship game, battles Toronto for the title. 6:30 Eastern from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on ESPN2. A minute 53 to go before halftime. Bob Carpenter with Len Elmore. Quarterfinal NIT action.
And that 20-second timeout by Duke was primarily to be able to get Trajan Langdon and Jeff Capel back in the ball game. They're going with a small team right now. You can probably bet that if they score here, there's going to be a lot of pressure applied by Duke, probably full court.
They are really dangerous in the last 2 minutes. They can put a run on you if they make this first basket and really go into the locker room with a lot of momentum.
They're going to take a little time off the clock, run a pattern, try to probably get Capel off maybe Langdon, but Wojo's doing the job with penetration.
What a night. 10 for him in the first half. They're giving him some space to work with, and he's killing the Commodores with it. Duke leads by 16.
There was no pressure, but right now it's a massive advantage from the height standpoint, and Vanderbilt can't capitalize.
Why, Prater really had no clue where he was throwing that ball. Freshman mistake. Here goes Capel. It'll go back the other way to Vandy with 1:03 remaining.
You know, this would be a good opportunity right now, at least to try to reestablish that inside game. There's going to be an awful lot of help once the ball goes down low, and the big guys are going to have to recognize that, and the shooters are going to have to spot up. But take a look at the size advantage. You've got Jeff Capel trying to guard Billy DeSpaltro, and he's pulling out to the top rather than holding position on the block.
Prater. And that dump down to Bates was knocked away on a foul by Jeff Capel.
They're also doing a lot of switching inside as DeSpaltro moved to the top. He and Langdon, Capel and Langdon switched.
Coming up, Mike Tirico with our Delta Faucet halftime report. He'll look back on the Cats and the Tar Heels up in Springfield. Something about Lute Olson's team. They won the preseason NIT last year. Hoosiers in action against St. Louis tonight. And a little family action out in the land of Lincoln tonight coming up at halftime. Austin Bates missing again from the line. Jan Van Bredekoff's workhorse at the stripe. All 6'9", 240 of him. And that's a dozen for Austin. But a 15-point first half lead for Duke.
Right now Vanderbilt goes back to a zone. One reason is because of the size differential. There's also a quickness differential, with Duke being the beneficiary of that. And I don't think Jan Van Bredekoff wants his big guys tired out for the second half chasing these quick Duke forwards and guards around.
Shot clock at 10. There's a 10-second differential. Wojciechowski for Price. Ricky kicks it to the wing. Nobody there. And then last touch by Capel. So the Commodores,
number 23, James Strong,
from their standpoint, hopefully can take advantage of that one and get a basket here before the first half ends. At best, they go into the locker room down by 12.
Duke ready to apply full court pressure. They're not going to concede getting the ball over half court uncontested.
Howard Pride receives the inbound pass. 5 seconds. He let it go way too soon. I think the crowd fooled him. They do a false countdown here. That's about 4 seconds before the clock. And I think Howard Pride fell for it. What a first half for Duke. A little sluggish the other night, but a big half for the point guard. So at halftime, Duke by 15. We go from Wojo to Tirico. Mike?
Carpet Len, thanks. Good to see the Dukies are in mid-season form. If you've been listening carefully during the first half, you know what I'm saying. Coming up, it's the Delta Faucet halftime report. First big night of college hoops. North Carolina, Arizona, and a good game in the Tip-Off Classic. An in-state battle in Illinois that has more significance than normal. We'll show you the highlights when you come back for halftime.
ESPN's presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Chase. At Chase, the right relationship is everything.
When it comes to free gasoline, who's the top performer? The Shell MasterCard from Chase. Which card lets you earn free Shell gasoline month in and month out? The Shell MasterCard from Chase. Which card now has a special no annual fee offer? The Shell MasterCard from Chase. To apply, call 1-800-FREE-GAS or pick up an application at a Shell station.
The Panasonic razor lets you shave wet or lets you shave dry. You choose how to use it for a great shave every time. Lather up and shave wet or shave quick and dry. Your choice. Blade close, electric smooth, rinse clean. Work hard, play hard, and shave your way. Panasonic. Of all the things around you that can hurt your eyes, there's one you probably don't think too much about. But working at a computer every day can cause a number of vision problems. The solution may be as simple as changing the position or the color of your monitor. Your Pearl Eye Care professional can also help, with glasses specially made to reduce eye strain. Seeing comfortably, that's the key.
Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
At the half at Cameron, Trajan Langdon. All three's first time out, working inside in this game tonight. He and Duke leading 5-15 over Vandy. Welcome to the Delta Faucet Halftime Report. This is the second of our triple header earlier tonight on ESPN. The Tip-Off Classic in the home of the Hall of Fame, Springfield, Massachusetts. Arizona taking on North Carolina. Lute Olson starting 4 players for the first time. One of the reasons, Miles Simon out for academic reasons. Carolina gets the breaks in the first. Ademola Okulaja missed the 3, but bounced off the backboard and got back in. Tied at 29 at the break, but Arizona comes back. Michael Dickerson, huge half. And Mike Bibby, the freshman, what an impact behind the NBA three-point line. And on the defensive end, watch Bibby come up with the quick hands, the anticipation, the steal, and all the way to the rack. Arizona beats North Carolina with a 17-5 second half run. The difference in the game was 11. Down to Fayetteville for Arkansas's lid lifter against Jackson State. Kareem Reed and company in control. Watch Reed the steal. Watch the no-looks for Derek Hood. Oh, it's easy for Arkansas. They're up 32 at this point in the second half. Kareem Reed, Pat Bradley, some of the freshmen forced into the lineup last year, looking like experienced sophomores tonight. Bradley had 25. Arkansas comfortably wins by 53 in their opener. Iowa in the Quad Cities taking on Western Illinois. Guy Rucker. His block starts the break. Jess settles. Behind the back, Andre Woolridge, the finish. Woolridge at 24. Still in the first half, Matthias Kutzer-Schroeder with a 3 for the Leathernecks, who are within 3 at the break. But in the second half, Jess settles. Back with the Hawkeyes, the steal. He at 19, and Iowa wins by 15. 81-66 on this night. Syracuse got a big 55-point win, the second biggest win in the Boeheim era. They play Kentucky Thanksgiving night on ESPN. Tark's team, Fresno State, lid lifter, up by 6. New Mexico wins in the pit in Albuquerque in the Lobo Classic. Boston College scored the first 13 and beat Brown. Jimmy O'Brien's program, a lot of stress lately, but he gets the win there. And GW wins their opener by 30 in the Red Arbac Colonial Classic. The NIT, Chase NIT quarterfinals getting underway tonight on the Deuce in Bloomington. Indiana taking on St. Louis. First half, Indiana down 1. Neil Reed, the great game in the opener of this NIT, to Andre Patterson, who had 2 posterizing dunks in the night. Hoosiers by 1. Still first half, score tied. A.J. Guyton, 16 points tonight. Watch him beat Virgil Cobbins off the dribble. Late in, Hoosiers up 2. Second half, Indiana extending the lead to double digits. Lewis going in, and our cameraman took the worst of it, but bounced back as Indiana beats St. Louis 70-54. They'll meet Evansville in New York in a very low-scoring game. Evansville beats Iona 44-41. So Evansville's going, Indiana's going. Duke leads. Oklahoma State Tulsa winner will play Duke. The NIT semifinals, the 4th quarterfinal, comes your way at midnight right after SportsCenter. If you don't know how Tulsa got there, didn't stay up late Wednesday night, Steve Lavin's debut as the UCLA head coach. Shea Seals cold in the first half, strong in the second half, as Tulsa comes away with a huge victory over UCLA at Pauley. That's why it's Tulsa, Oklahoma State tonight at midnight. At the half, Duke leads Vanderbilt 44-29. We'll have more scores and highlights of the story of the Illinois-Chicago game after this.
This halftime report is presented by Delta Faucet and your dependable Delta Plumbing Professional. Together, they're the way water is brought to life.
When plumbers hit the road, they carry more than a truckload of faucets and pipes. They carry knowledge about products, like why the finishes and solid brass construction of Delta faucets are right for you. They carry knowledge about styles and knowledge about procedures and codes that tell you they're as committed to perfection as we at Delta are. In fact, there's only one thing as dependable as Delta faucets, and that's the plumber who installs them. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
This is your chocolate zone. Indulge it, because now there's sweet escapes. Real Hershey's chocolate with less fat. Sweet escapes. New from Hershey.
Space Jam is here, and the rush for Space Jam Plush is on at McDonald's. Get Bugs, Taz, and all the others before they're gone. Just $2.99 each when you buy any McDonald's Deluxe or Large Sandwich. Only one place has Space Jam deals this plush.
McDonald's, Doc.
It starts with a full quarter pound of beef, with fresh toppings, our chef sauce, on a bakery soft roll. McDonald's Arch Deluxe. If it were any more grown up, we'd need to check your ID. Oh, thank you. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
Foot action. Foot action to me is working to be the best all-around guard in the league. Best defender.
Best rebounder. Best passer.
Foot action's also where to get the Air Flight Max from Nike.
Best shooter. Did I mention best rebounder?
For every action, there's foot action.
It'll be time to ho-ho-ho it before you know it. So Sears has the entire store on sale. Shop Sears this Saturday and take an extra 10% off all sale prices and 10% off all regular prices. This Saturday only.
We're back on the Delta 15-point lead for Duke. One of the most anticipated November college hoop games in Chicago tonight. It involves Jimmy Collins, who many thought would be the Illinois coach tonight. But as Bill Pito tells us, he takes the floor with his UIC Flames.
I recommended Jimmy Collins because he knows the state, he knows the Big Ten, so I recommend him.
As Lou Henson's assistant for 13 years, Jimmy Collins tapped the Chicago pipeline that brought in talent like Ken Norman, Kendall Gill, Nick Anderson, and currently Kawan Garris to Champaign. Yet Illinois went a different direction when choosing Henson's successor.
Face to face, I was given no reason. I mean, nobody talked to me and told me why I didn't get it.
I think you knew we had an exceptional person inside, but you minimize risk when you go for someone that has established themselves.
So it wasn't a knock on Jimmy. You know, just the fact that he hadn't had the experience as a head coach.
They were looking for a coach who had Final Four experience as a head coach. It was my understanding that they were also looking for someone who was maybe born in the Midwest. They were also looking for someone who was well-liked by the people making these selections. And so I guess I didn't fit any of those.
Going outside the program and get somebody the players was, you know, we was mad, upset.
I think initially they wanted me there because they were familiar with me. They knew me, and they weren't familiar with the people coming in. I encouraged them not to transfer, to stay there and give that situation an opportunity to develop. Follow your shot.
Opportunity did arise for Collins at the University of Illinois Chicago on the city's west side. His first game as head coach against his old unit from Champaign.
I don't have time for hard feelings. You know, it takes too much energy to harbor anger. The way I look at it, this is a blessing.
And a warm pregame embrace, Jimmy Collins and Lon Kruger? I guess not, that's what it says here. Here's the meeting at the Pavilion. UIC forward Mike King slams home the miss. USC down 8. At that point, Kawan Garris bringing the Illini back, knocks down a 3.
We could just steal that one.
He had 5 first-half threes. This game is very tight. Illinois just a 6-point lead. We'll keep a close eye on this during the second half. Lon Kruger left Florida. Billy Donovan's debut at Florida, a victory. As the Gators get it done by 17. Georgia victorious on this night. As we're going to break more scores in the Southeastern Conference, it's Auburn, Alabama football. But in Birmingham tonight, UAB's Blazers leading the Tigers by 7 on the hardwood.
When I started losing my hair, it bothered me, and I finally got to the point where I just didn't want to think about it anymore. But I didn't want to do anything until I knew I could get the look that I wanted. The most important thing to me was the hairline. It had to look natural.
Hair Club for Men is proud to announce a technological breakthrough. Call our toll-free number now to receive your free copy of Hair Club's exciting new technology brochure.
I just love the idea that I can get out of the shower, towel dry my hair, blow dry it, and I'm gone.
So call now and get Hair Club's new technology brochure. You'll see before and after photos of men like yourself who have already experienced the benefits of this innovative technology.
I'd seen too many people that had tried surgery or products that promised to grow their hair back again. I wanted something that was simple, non-surgical, that would give me the results that I was really after.
Call our toll-free number for your free brochure, because Hair Club for Men really can make a difference.
Welcome back. Obviously, I wasn't ready for you, but we're ready to tell you news about Notre Dame and head coach Lou Holtz. You know he's resigning. His last game as the head coach is going to be tomorrow, at least his last home game. ESPN sources telling us tonight that Bob Davie, by the end of this weekend, could very well be named the new Notre Dame head coach. Why don't we check some NBA highlights tonight? The Sonics taking on the Celtics at the Fleet Center. Grandpa Munster's in the building. Maybe he can come down here for the third game of the triple header. The Rain Man, Sean Kemp, breaks me off a piece of that something. Kemp with the dunk, and Seattle beats Boston by 27. Washington beats Philadelphia by 12 in Landover. At the Mall tonight, Penguins with a 5-goal third beat the first-place Whalers 7-1. Washington and New Jersey, two hot teams in the East, and the Capitals beat the Devils 5-1. Full highlights coming up on SportsCenter with my friends Carl Ravitch and Linda Cohn. Also news of Bobby Bonilla on the move and the new head football coach at Purdue. Second half with Carp and Lenny coming up after this.
Little Caesar's new pizza by the foot is radically different, so please observe a safe turning radius. No. Yes. Thank you and good luck. Little Caesar's new pizza by the foot is radically different, so please observe a safe turning radius. No. Yes. Hey, look out! Thank you and good luck.
I don't think he was paying attention.
Pizza by the foot. Nearly 3 feet of pizza and free Italian bread, just $10.99. Carried out or have it delivered. Pizza.
FedEx uses over 500 airplanes to handle your 2-day package. Cost about $8.
UPS uses over 500 airplanes to handle your 2-day package. Cost about $6.
The U.S. Postal Service uses over 15,000 airplanes to handle your priority mail 2- to 3-day package. Cost $3.
So, 8, 6, 3, what's your priority? Priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
I'm not everyone, I'm me. So when I decided to quit smoking, I did not choose that one-size-fits-all patch. I chose Nicorette gum. Nicorette has this flexible dosing schedule that helped me control my cravings. It let me use the strength I needed, the amount I needed, when I needed it. Nicorette was personal. It fit me. You know, me the non-smoker. Me.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
A sparkling ship on crystal waters is coming.
Absolutely gorgeous. It was so much fun.
The perfect lobster is coming.
Our waiters, they would do anything for us, any time.
Perfection is coming.
A gift from the captain.
Memories are coming. 7 days in Royal Caribbean's Caribbean are coming. You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
Duke by 15 at the half, trying to go 2-0, looking for New York City to take on the winner of later tonight's Oklahoma State game at Tulsa on ESPN. Steve Wojciechowski, the story of the first half. Len Elmore, he has been all over the place.
And that's literally. I mean, he has been everywhere, scrapping, scraping, diving on the floor, and he's shown some things that have been uncharacteristic of his game. The ability to put it on the floor, penetrate, dish, hit some outside shots.
And that, by the way, is him scrapping on the floor behind the statistics. The school record at Duke is 11 steals by Kenny Dennard against Maryland in 1979. He already has a career-high 7. The Devils are shooting the ball well. 15 Vanderbilt turnovers, and amazingly with that, 10 of those on steals by the home team.
And the turnovers by DeSpaltro, by Howard Pride, they amount to just about 11 or 10 of those turnovers. Those guys either have to give up the ball a lot quicker, they have to locate the defenders, and particularly DeSpaltro, he's got to get back on the blocks and start working the blocks where it belongs.
4 turnovers by Howard Pride, 6 by the big fella DeSpaltro. Wojciechowski has been a big disruptor in this game. Devils with possession. It's Ricky Price from Langdon. Now back to Trajan. Newton's in there playing with 3 fouls. So is Rashawn McLeod.
Vanderbilt backing in man-to-man. That's about the only defense they can play right now. They've got to try to find a way to get back in this ball game.
Newton keeps it alive. And the rebound by Austin Bates, his 3rd of the night, to go with his 12 points. Vandy needs to come out strong here in the first 4 minutes.
But they also don't need to try to get it all back at one time. You know, they've got to be able to move the ball, find the guy that's carrying him, like Austin Bates.
That's his range, but he missed it. Wojciechowski feeling his way up the floor. Maddox watching Langdon.
Much better job by Newton to locate the defenders. Then he found them and turned baseline away from him.
Good position by DeSpaltro for his 6th rebound of the night. Good feed for Bates. Easy, too.
We talk about patience, Bob. That's what I'm talking about. Allow the game to come to them a little bit. Set yourself up, but you also have to have the presence of mind to hit the open man.
There's McLeod putting it on the floor. Over DeSpaltro. What a move. Rashawn McLeod with 9 tonight.
You can't touch that. Wow. Can't do anything with that.
There's Maddox for 3. Kept alive by Pax Whitehead. Got it.
Whitehead literally willed that ball in. Didn't have much lift off the ground and trying to put it up there, but got the roll. But that's the type of effort Vanderbilt needs to get back into this game. Second chance opportunities as well as, again, pound it inside, get fouled.
Whitehead pretty physical at 6'5", 215. Now the Commodores get the turnover, spread the floor. Whitehead misses. They had a 3-on-2. They could have had a better shot than that.
Well, he was fouled on that play. We could see that from up here, but no call.
It is fun to come to Duke. We do see a few things here we don't normally see sitting at the table at courtside. Looking almost directly down on the floor from our perch high atop. Cameron. Shot clock is at 9.
We have the eagle eye.
McLeod another turnaround. Over the top, Newton. That's his 4th. He had no chance for that rebound. That was not a smart play.
And slowly but surely, Vanderbilt seems to be cutting away at Duke's lead. And the way they've done it is to cut down on their turnovers. They've spread the defense a little bit, and they've given the effort. They've gone to the offensive board. You know, one of the things we talked about as far as patience was concerned was let the plays develop. A nice feed by Billy DeSpaltro down to Austin Bates inside. But the floor was spread. There was plenty of room inside to allow Bates to work.
Let's see what these big Commodores can do with Newton, Duke's big man, on the bench with 4 fouls. Prater for 3. Air ball from the freshman.
And I'm not sure that was a shot. At least I hope it wasn't. Wow. It looked as though it might have been a lob pass, and whether it was Bates or Maddox didn't look for it.
Langdon for 3. And they get it back out to him. Good work underneath there by the freshman, Chris Carrawell. He's got a pretty good wingspan at 6'6". He jumps into the lane and draws the foul. It'll be on Austin Bates, his 2nd.
And he's got a heck of a first step as well, receiving on the baseline. The nose for the basket. See him receive right here. Quick first step. A little bit of a shuffle. Force Bates to put his hands on him, not only to slow his progress to the basket, but also foul him as he was going up.
Yeah, we saw the thing there that the Duke coaches love about Carrawell. He can play the shooting guard, he can play the perimeter, the 3, and he can go inside and play a little 4. That time he got inside in good fashion. His third point of the night. He led Cardinal Ritter in St. Louis to back-to-back Class AA titles. Second team All-American last year. Scored over 2,000 points in his high school career with 1,063 boards. And just for good measure, he dished it out 550 times, too.
Well, at one time, he was considered maybe a top 5 player, but he's had shoulder problems in both shoulders. Surgery last year, his stock kind of dropped, but I'm sure Duke saw in him something that was special.
Coach K's good at spotting those intangibles. Here's Maddox. Ball deflected by Carmen Wallace. Right there is Bates to pick it up. That is 16 for Austin Bates.
That time, Vanderbilt didn't run out from the boards once the ball went up. They stayed in and stayed with it.
Well, you know, these Commodores are known for doing a lot of work in the classroom. Bates and his buddies have been doing a lot in the weight room. He is so strong, he shows no signs of wearing down. Long way to go in this one. We're only 4:01 out of halftime, and Duke leads by 13.
The members of the Achilles Track Club have taught us what we consider to be the most important principle in banking. Never underestimate any person's worth. And we at Chase proudly support and are inspired by their efforts. Chase, because the right relationship is everything.
Let's go, guys. I need a play down here. Hang on, Mike.
We're working on something up here.
Try 3-wide rocket.
If they blitz, it won't work.
What about a quick slam?
Okay, Mike, we're almost there.
Come on, come on, come on.
Look at pro split Z out.
What's taking so long up there?
Okay, Mike, here we go. 3 wide, 78, Z out, Y cross.
All right, all set? Let's go. Let's go. Great call, guys. Good job.
HBO Pictures presents a film based on the true story of the greatest player the world has never known.
The boy I'm waiting for is 10 feet tall.
But when the realities of life take you out of the game, don't give up. It takes a true hero to rebound. Don Cheadle, James Earl Jones, Eric LaSalle, and Forrest Whitaker. Rebound, coming this month only on HBO.
A trip to New York City at stake, 48-35 Duke, early second half.
Well, we talked about Rashawn McLeod throughout the game, and he's not your typical two-dimensional big man. We've seen him shoot threes. We've seen him put it on the floor, and they're a nice post move. Ball fakes, pivots, and everything. The jump hook, that's his go-to move, and that's unstoppable. This guy has definitely been a valuable addition to the Duke program.
A Duke connection in his past, played for Bob Hurley. Two-time All-Stater at St. Anthony's in Jersey City.
Good things come to those who wait. Mike Krzyzewski originally recruited him out of high school, lost him to St. John's, and got him back somehow.
Shot clock at 7. Rebound, Drew Maddox. Straight ahead for the freshman Prater. Wojciechowski catches up. Pretty good catch there by Austin Bates, who's having a big night. He's got 18 now to go with his 5 rebounds, and he is almost single-handedly keeping Vanderbilt in this game.
And the thing that's making him so effective is that he's going to the basket strong, keeping the ball up high and finding the spot.
Well, there's Carmen Wallace. He's the ultimate role player on this team. That's his first basket of the night. He's 3 for 3 shooting threes this year. Oh, DeSpoltro! My goodness! Well, he finally has a field goal attempt.
We knew he had it in him at some point.
Oh, my.
He changed shoes. I guess he got out of that 62 varieties.
This place has been open for 56 years, Cameron. It's never been rattled quite like that. Here's Maddox on the break. Short. It's going to be against Bates. He was on the back of Ricky Price. That's 3 on Austin Bates. We've got to see this again, big fella.
And listen to the sound, if we can.
Even the Cameron crazies were impressed.
Well, he had to go in and put the rocket shoes on. He needs something to get him started. If he plays any type of game, possibly Vanderbilt's in this one.
51-39 Duke. 14.5 to go. Despaltro on the floor, got a touch, and Wojciechowski ends up with it as usual.
But it's a good sign, though. That wasn't the type of effort we saw in the first half from Vandy. People weren't getting the floor burned.
Here's Capel. Shot clock at 8. And a turnover. Despaltro angles it to Maddox. Diagonal to Bates. It was behind him.
Bad decision. The big guy's running to get to a spot. He's not running to handle.
Maddox, with the ball, was the one who had all the space to work with. Here's Carmen Wallace. He was fouled on the way by. Uh-oh. Is that number 4 on Austin Bates?
Vanderbilt foul on number 12, Austin Bates.
That will be his 4th. That is serious.
Mark this time down, 13:59. Vanderbilt looking like they can make somewhat of a run. Got a little momentum, and then they lose Austin Bates, the guy who's come up big for him so far.
He got his 3rd foul at 14:43. And then only 44 seconds later, his 4th. Capel banking in the 3. That's Whitehead drawing the foul on Domzowski.
That was a good decision by Whitehead in receiving. Rather than settling for the jump shot, he recognizes he's got to make something happen for his team. So he went in and drew the contact.
Damon Domzowski, one of 2 very good sophomore players in the nation out of the state of New Mexico. We saw one earlier tonight on ESPN. A.J. Bramlett playing for Lute Olson. Starting to come into his own with those Wildcats out there. Domzowski, though, has been foul prone early in his career. He did make the All-ACC freshman team last year.
Last year he averaged about 3.5 fouls per game, playing only 20 minutes. He's the kind of guy that's an aggressive player, but you got to be able to channel that aggression to certain points, and he'll learn.
9 for Pax Whitehead.
If he wants to play, he'll learn.
Yeah. Capel lost the handle. But then Carmen Wallace hustling to get it back to Wojciechowski. That ball has been slippery all night in here. It was warmer in here Wednesday than it is tonight. Here's Wojo. And he took a trip from behind from Howard Pride.
I mentioned at the beginning of the half that Wojciechowski's shown something he hasn't really shown much of, and that's his ability to penetrate. A lot of people think he's an east-west player. In other words, going from side to side with the ball. But here, nice little crossover, steps into the basket. Didn't think much of the finish, but then again, he's getting the job done.
He is tireless. Had to wait for a lot of playing time. Chris Collins, of course, very good in that backcourt. Graduated last year. Number 2 3-point shooter in Duke history. There's Chappelle. Over the top, Carmen Wallace kept it alive. Here's Whitehead flashing by everybody, and his slam gives him 11. And back to within 11 is Vanderbilt with a lot of time to go.
Vanderbilt now in a 1-2-2 zone.
Capel, offensive foul.
That time you got to believe with Vanderbilt coming back in the zone, Jeff Capel didn't recognize the defense, decided to take a headlong opportunity to the basket and created the charge. Right here, Strong does a nice job of funneling him towards the baseline, and I believe it was Despaltro who stepped up.
Trajan Langdon back in. Vanderbilt a chance to make this a single-figure deficit now. Pride for Whitehead. Pax has really come alive here in the last couple of minutes. Bad-looking shot there. He was trying to shoot over 2 people in his face. Carmen Wallace, that one deflected. Here comes Pride. To the wing for Whitehead for 3. Ooh, missing badly. Not even close.
Now, Pax Whitehead is this team's leader. I've spoken to Jan Van Bredikoff about that this morning. You know, he's a senior. He's been around. He says he's seen the ups and the downs going from the all-rookie team in the Ivy League to scoring 1 point a game in a season that was plagued by injuries. But what he's got to be able to do out there on the floor right now is settle his team down.
He hit a big three the other night against Valparaiso. That put him from 2 up to 5 up and really enabled Vanderbilt to sort of cruise down to the end of that game. Capel for Langdon. There's McLeod. Back to the basket. Slips free and scores!
Sugar sweet right there. Once again on the post, Rashawn McLeod. You can't say enough about his footwork. It's a little bit reminiscent of the jump hook before, but again, up fake, good footwork. You see he keeps his pivot foot, gets the head and shoulders past the defender, and is able to get to the basket. It's a clinic out there right now given by Rashawn McLeod.
Three-point play gives him a dozen. Timeout. 8-10 out of the locker room. 11:50 remaining. McLeod puts Duke up by 14.
If you can just get your mind together, then come on across to me. We'll hold hands and then we'll watch the sunrise from the bottom of the sea. But first, are you experienced? Or have you ever been experienced?
Ooh, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Oh, yeah, look out. Oh. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Oh, man. Let me go put some on my feet. Myself together here. Look out. That's better. Uh-oh. All the king's cooks, all the king's men. Hoo-sa-ha. Wouldn't have Humpty for breakfast ever again. Get back.
Inside its armrest are storage compartments. The map pockets are thoughtfully divided. Its roomy rear seats have under-seat bins. And the bed converts into a shelf. In the all-new Dakota, even the conveniences have conveniences. The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
In San Jose, it's the opener for #2 Kansas against Santa Clara. Garrett Haas, the lob, Rafe LaFrentz, the catch, the putback. KU up by 8. Bob.
All right, Mike, a little stop on the West Coast for Kansas. They're heading for the Maui Invitational to take on LSU Monday. Here in Durham, it's 57-43 Duke. Bob Carpenter with Len Elmore. Vanderbilt hanging tough here in the second half. Do they have enough, though, to make the comeback against the fresh legs of these versatile Blue Devils? Right at the feet of Lange, out of bounds on the turnover.
And what caused that turnover was the extreme pressure that was applied to Howard Pride. He really didn't have anywhere to go with it. When he passed that ball, he just wanted to give it up and get it out of his hands. That's mental fatigue, and that wears on you as much as physical fatigue.
Capel handles it. Chappelle and Langdon on the perimeter. McLeod and Domzowski inside for Duke. Nice feed, McLeod from Langdon. And that's 14 for Rashawn. He had 16 in his Duke debut Wednesday night against St. Joe's. Bates, tough catch to the wing for Lange. Pride, the senior. They needed that one. 4-on-3 are the Devils. McLeod hits the trailer, Langdon. Jump stop. McLeod kept it alive. Chappelle backdoor.
Sean McLeod getting it done, whether it's when he's fed to the blocks or keeping the ball alive.
At 6'8", 220, he's moving some people out of there. Another run by Duke, 7-0, and away from the ball, Chappelle with his first foul. Duke by 18 with 10.5 to go. Sunday, Brett Favre and the Pack try to bounce back from Monday night's loss to the Cowboys. They'll go to St. Louis to take on the Rams. Andre Rison could make his debut in Packer green, trying to shore up that receiving core. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann and the gang, 8 o'clock Eastern. Sunday night NFL on ESPN.
If Vanderbilt has any hope of trying to cut this lead, they've now got to start recognizing shots and not pass them up and try to put them down. A couple of times guys have passed up shots.
Maddox short with the 2. Running down to the 10-minute mark remaining. Price with a tough pass for McLeod. Pride has it. 2-on-2. He'll go it alone. The ball's got to go over the iron, not through from the bottom. Capel.
Poor decision making once again. You know, Howard Pride's a senior. He certainly should know better, and I think Jan Van Bredikoff is going to let him know that.
Duke on a 9-0 run over the last 2 minutes. And now under 10 minutes to go. It's really tough for Vandy with a deficit of 20.
Well, they're not a pressured team, so they're not going to turn Duke over. They don't seem to be able to hit their jumpers, and they haven't been able to get the ball inside with regularity. Austin Bates really the only effective guy on the block for them. So the ability to generate offense is going to be probably as difficult as it's been all, at least not this season because they only played 1 game, but at least as much as they've ever seen. And you've got, again, a senior at the point guard in Howard Pride. A scoring run right here, 12-4. Some of that generated by Austin Bates picking up his 4th foul and having to sit down. But this is where Duke turns it on with the pressure. They capitalize on your fatigue, and what fatigue makes you do is turn the ball over. It makes you foul on the other end, and certainly you don't have your legs for the jumper.
Prater for Despalcho. McLeod stuffed in. Then an offensive foul against Domzowski, who was throwing the elbows. That's his 4th. So they may need to get Greg Newton back in pretty soon. He's been on the bench since the 17:22 mark with 4 fouls.
Well, a good feed by Prater. You saw the elbow right there on the rebound by Domzowski.
Maddox for Despalcho. Around McLeod. Offensive foul.
Pure frustration right now. Billy Despalcho's feeling it.
He's not the first to feel it here.
Pretty good move inside. Little hesitation, but going to the basket. You know, sometimes you wonder when a defender is standing under the basket, and it was hard to see from that angle if he in fact is in a defensive position. And on a play like that, I don't know if I'd just give that to the defender. It was a good move. You got to reward the offensive player at times.
Nothing turns on the crowd here like pressure defense. And how about that move by Domzowski, taking the charge right after he committed his 4th foul. Devils by 20. Capel, baseline left. They laid off him. Suddenly he has 7 points.
Well,
in the second half and 8 in the game.
The help is getting him much too slow right now. Vanderbilt is spent. 9 minutes to go.
Bates is short with it. McLeod taken away by Maddox. Duke is on a run of 11-0 here. Bates the jumper. I think he's getting tired. His last 2 shots have been short.
You can tell when it comes up short because the legs are gone.
And then Despalcho hacks McLeod from behind. That'll be his 4th.
That was a hard foul and a frustration foul right there. You see guys grabbing onto their shorts. Whenever guys bend over and grab onto the shorts, you know that the lungs are working hard. Here's Despalcho coming down as a trailer on this play. If you can call a defender who gets down late a trailer. And that's just a frustration foul. He had no chance to block that.
Number 4, Rashawn McLeod.
Billy takes a seat with 5 points, 4 fouls. At the line, Rashawn McLeod. Never ceases to amaze me how this place can go from bedlam to a library in a matter of seconds when their guys are shooting free throws.
It's almost like a tennis match here, ready for service.
Well, he had a double fault. Both of them right into the net. 8:37 to go. The run is now 13-0 by Duke, and they're starting to think about New York City here, leading 67-43 with 8:37 remaining.
On Wednesday at 7 p.m. Be here to support.
Rivalry week continues tomorrow on the Deuce as well in college football. At noon, West Virginia takes on Virginia Tech. And then at 5:30, the Battle of South Carolina, with the Gamecocks traveling down to Clemson to face those Tigers in Death Valley. It's not over. At 8:30, Iowa and their running back Cedric Shaw take on Minnesota for the Floyd Rosedale Trophy. The pig is up for grabs tomorrow on the Deuce. Rivalry weekend. It doesn't get any better. Duke and North Carolina playing football this weekend as well, but it's not the same for the Devils. They're 0-10 on the gridiron this year.
I tell you, a win against Carolina would make that 0-10 feeling disappear.
10 on the shot clock, and away from the ball, it's Domzowski fouling out.
Foul on number 13. Penguin Domzowski. His 5th personal foul. Greg Newton returns to the lineup for the Blue Devils.
Well, he did one thing for Mike Krzyzewski. He made it tough inside for Vandy during all that time that Newton was out with 4 fouls. Newton, 4 fouls.
Where he was, yikes. Call that a pretty good block.
Trajan Langdon back, having scored 11 all in the first half tonight. Ricky Price. 3rd team All-ACC last year as a sophomore when he had 14 a game. Shot almost 40% from three-point range last year. Andy hasn't had a point in 4 minutes. I think they're gassed. Look at Newton bank it in. Then you got a big man who comes in with fresh legs after sitting down for 9 minutes. It's now a 16-0 run by Duke. Whitehead baseline, sneaks around, fouled by McLeod. That'll be his 4th.
See, that's what Vanderbilt hasn't done much of during this run, and that is challenge the defense. You know, they haven't been aggressive in going, trying to create things. And Duke's done an excellent job of forcing guys into positions where they might get doubled, making the ball handler think about it, and then having a 3rd guy kind of roaming, looking for the passing lane to be able to deflect the ball.
Willie Despaltro back. Max Whitehead at the line. This guy came out of Cardinal Gibbons High School in Fort Lauderdale, made a stop at Maine Central Institute, that outstanding prep program, before playing for Van Bredikoff at Cornell. Ivy Player of the Year 4 years ago. Misfires twice, and the rebound for Carrawell with Duke. 7:20 remaining. Blue Devils by 27.
With that much time, which isn't much, looking at this deficit, Vanderbilt's got to push up. They're giving too much room right now, allowing the passers to get it inside without any contact.
Look at Newton with the sweet little fall away. 2 straight field goals for him coming off the bench. Only a half dozen for the big guy. They've outscored Vanderbilt 18-0 in the last 5 minutes. Vandy only has 14 points this entire half. Whitehead, a skip pass for Bates. Perimeter, Maddox. And then over to Whitehead, who will go baseline right. And Newton, 2 touches for the rebound.
Newton did a nice job of getting to the baseline, forcing Whitehead to kind of change direction on that shot.
Wojciechowski lost the handle, double dribbled. 6:26 to go. That might be the first thing we've seen him do wrong this season.
They're nutty, goofy, zany, and just plain silly. From the creator of the award-winning television series Wild America comes a hilarious home video unlike anything you've ever seen. These are nature's Fantastic Follies. Fantastic Follies is a non-stop comical romp through the world of animals. It is not available in stores. Call now to get Fantastic Follies for just $19.95. Order now and you'll also receive Backyard Wildlife absolutely free. That's right, both of these extraordinary programs are yours for just $19.95. Call now.
For rush delivery, get your credit card ready and call 1-800-443-9559. That's 1-800-443-9559, or send your check or money order to the address on your screen. Call now.
Well, you know, we make trades all the time, and we made a really big one with Melrose Place. It was a blockbuster. We got Shue, they got Steiner.
Andrew? Thanks, Gary. I spoke with NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue this evening. He would not confirm nor deny reports that the Chicago Bears...
Worked out great for us. For them, you're going to have to ask them about that.
Hi, Sydney. I'm Bobby. I'm the new pool boy. Want to rub some cocoa oil on my back?
Maybe we got the better end of the deal.
Well, Duke appears headed for the Big Apple. They've never been in the preseason NIT without going to New York. And they will play the winner of the Oklahoma State game at Tulsa tonight. The upper half of the bracket's interesting, Glenn. That's Jim Cruz, the head coach at Evansville, who played for Bob Knight, who was one of Bob's assistants. He's now running the Purple Aces. They'll go to New York and play the Hoosiers. A little battle of Indiana there.
Well, it'll definitely be more than a battle for just a game. And the same thing with the Tulsa-Oklahoma State game, which is coming up tonight. You know, I bet you Steve Robinson and Eddie Sutton are going to be battling for some recruiting rights.
Those schools 70 miles apart. They play at midnight Eastern on ESPN tonight after Sports Center. Here's Strong from Whitehead, and he was fouled by Capel. The other interesting thing about that Tulsa matchup, they beat UCLA, now they face Oklahoma State. Those are the same two teams they beat in order in the '94 NCAA when Tubby Smith took Shea Seals and company to the Sweet 16. Seals is now one of the best players in that part of the country. Oklahoma State needed a three by Jason Scare at the buzzer to beat St. Mary's. That's tonight at midnight on ESPN. James Strong, a freshman out of Huntsville, Alabama. Scoreless tonight. He's their most athletic guard. Pretty good defensively with that wingspan. It'll take him a while to develop his offensive game. He's got his first point of the night, and Vandy scores for the first time in 6 minutes and 43 seconds. And it was a free throw that rattled in.
Well, you may think that Vanderbilt should go out and pressure people, but again, they're so tired.
The two freshmen, that's Carrawell and Chappelle.
As soon as they step out, they wind up getting backdoor, and they wind up getting lobbed over. They just don't have the legs to be able to sustain the defensive pressure.
Here's Despaltra for Strong. Trying to play the little two-man game, and Strong shuffled the feet.
Number 13, Howard
Pride and Lange back in for the Commodores.
Jan Van Bredekov told me this morning that this would be one of those types of games that would be kind of a talent yardstick, a team chemistry yardstick. They wanted to find their identity. Right now, they still aren't sure who their go-to guy is, although Austin Bates has stepped up pretty nicely.
Newton seals off Despaltra. Billy fouls out as Newton scores.
Foul on number 3, Billy Despaltra, his 5th personal foul.
Good inside feed to Newton, and nice drop step. Despaltra caught way on the high side. You know, if that happened to me at this point in time, you know, I'd try to step away from it so when the replay comes, people aren't going to say you got dunked on, Bill. That was nasty.
Billy fouls out, 5.7 boards. Less than a quarter of the scoring output he had on Wednesday night against Valparaiso when the Vanderbilt front line dominated scoring 65% of their points.
Number 12. That sound you hear is the farewell from the Dukies to Billy DeSpalto. That's their tradition.
Yeah, until he sits down, they don't say see ya. Greg Newton looking for the three-point play. He had only 2 points in the first half with 3 fouls worth of trouble. Bates the rebound.
And this is pointing up exactly what I was mentioning before with regard to finding an identity. You know, last year Vanderbilt beat 6 of the top 25 teams despite injuries to key people. This year they've lost some key scorers, and how they react to pressure is going to tell Jan Van Brederkoff an awful lot about his team. Right now he knows that they've got to go back to the drawing board.
Lange with the basket. Yeah, they went to Maui last year and beat Chaminade, then UCLA after a first-round loss to North Carolina.
And they came out of that feeling good about themselves and had a pretty good year. That established their identity, who they were, who their go-to people were.
Randall's home. Bates with 20. They also had a non-conference win at Virginia. Alumni Hall in Charlottesville, certainly a tough place to beat Jeff Jones' Cavaliers. Another team heading for Maui. And I tell you, Greg Newton, in this second half, he can't miss. Great week of basketball on ESPN next week. The semis and the final of the NIT. Newton will set up people.
Somebody would ask Greg, are you feeling it, Evil? Are you feeling it?
There's just no way you can prepare for the atmosphere in this building. No matter what you do in practice, you can't simulate this. Newton again. 3-on-2. Langdon behind Carrawell.
That defensive play was a purely momentum defensive play. There was a foul on that. It wasn't called, but that's what you expect when you're the aggressor. You get away with an awful lot, and Duke by far has been the aggressor in this half.
Maddox gets his own. 80-48 Duke. Great Alaska shootout. Maui Invitational next week along with the NIT Final Four on ESPN. Looks like Duke will join Indiana and Evansville and then await the winner of tonight's Oklahoma State game at Tulsa. Midnight on ESPN. Coach K ready to bring in some of the subs. Newton couldn't quite sneak it in, then he's the last to touch it. 2:49. Newton on fire in the second half. So's Duke. 80-48 with 2:49 to go.
Our engineers gave it the largest interior in its class. They made room for the biggest engine available and specified the longest wheelbase. But here's a surprise. It turns in a smaller circle than ever before, which makes the all-new Dodge Dakota just as nimble as the people who created it. The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals? You're out! Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1, so don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
Space Jam is here, and the rush for Space Jam Plush is on at McDonald's. Get Bugs, Taz, and all the others before they're gone. Just $2.99 each when you buy any McDonald's Deluxe or Large Sandwich. Only one place has Space Jam deals this plush.
McDonald's, Doc.
Introducing McDonald's Deluxe Sandwiches. They're new, they're big, with fresh toppings and a bakery soft roll. The average adult has over 8,000 taste buds. Get ready to use them all. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
It'll be time to ho-ho-ho it before you know it. So Sears has the entire store on sale. Shop Sears this Saturday and take an extra 10% off all sale prices and 10% off all regular prices. This Saturday only.
SportsCenter has all the scores and highlights coming up after this game. Here's how Illinois was able to hold off Illinois' Chicago. Kewan Garris the steal, running with Jerry Hester, who finishes it. And in this battle of Lon Kruger against Jimmy Clemens, to win for Kruger by 5. Jimmy Collins, excuse me. Bob?
It was Illinois here last year that ended Duke's non-conference home winning streak in Lou Henson's final year. Lon Kruger from Florida up north. And as Mike mentioned earlier, Billy Donovan got his first win of the year down south in Gainesville tonight. Well, they got some of the scrubs in. Jay Heaps, Justin Callbeck, Todd Singleton. There's Singleton, number 15, a junior out of Queenstown, Maryland. Wojciechowski is out there to keep everything settled down. There's Jay Heaps, outstanding Duke soccer player. Just made it to basketball practice for the first time on Tuesday when Len and I were hanging around.
I tell you, they probably got to shrink his jersey just a little more. You can't see too much of that 22 up front.
Rashawn McLeod with 18. The Devils at play here at home tonight. They blew out St. Joe's by 29. They're up 31 on Vandy. We did not expect it to be this one-sided. Lange probably traveled. Bates got the rebound, drew a foul and scored. It'll be a foul on Jay Heaps.
If there's any bright spot for Vanderbilt, it's the play of this young man right here. You know, he's kept his composure. He stayed on the boards. He worked hard defensively, and he's just done an overall good job.
SportsCenter's coming up next with Carl Ravitch and Linda Cohn. I'll look back at tonight's Tip-Off Classic when the Cats came up big. NBA a busy Friday night. And now that Gary Barnett has said no, who will take over in South Bend? And don't forget, after SportsCenter, Joel Myers and Clark Kellogg at the Convention Center Arena downtown Tulsa for the Golden Hurricane and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State.
That's why I asked you today before we came to work if you did football, because I wanted to know. I heard your name mentioned.
Hey, working with you's enough pressure for me, man. Austin Bates, 23 points on the night with 6 rebounds. He's the one Commodore that did not wilt in the Cameron Heat this evening. Here's Callbeck. Rejected on the baseline by Gianni Cugini. A 22-1 Duke run in the second half put this game to an end. Here's McLeod. Ocho back to him. Hacked by Gianni Cugini. And he pops right up.
I tell you, McLeod's pass to the basket, the way he took off, I guess that foul saved us an earthquake. If he was ready to throw it down, it's been that kind of night for him.
1 minute remaining. Duke will go to the NIT Final Four for the 3rd time. In '85, they beat Kansas to win the preseason NIT. In '90, they lost to Arkansas and then beat Notre Dame in the 3rd place game. So Coach K heading back for New York, 3rd time in a row. Rashawn McLeod with 19. Vanderbilt will get ready for a December schedule that features UAB, a date at Memphis, at Boston College, at Evansville, now a Final Four NIT team, and a home date with St. Louis. They're playing a home-and-home with Memphis this year. They'll have the Tigers come in to Memorial Gym on the 5th of February. A little in-state rivalry. McLeod with 20 will take a seat. His career high, obviously. Boy, he has some force in there, isn't he?
Well, he is, but not only inside. Again, he's showing the ability to play on the perimeter, put it on the floor, hit the 3. I mean, in a conference where there are so many versatile forwards.
More than